Or
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. I'm Darren Lutton, and our shows are stacked this evening with guests. We've got Tony Jorkis, who's there with a whole heap of books. How are you there, Tony?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. Let us know who's with you, mate.
I'm with Mr. Leo Siriani and Mr. Chinga.
Right. So we'll be seeing more of Leo in the football
I think
show.
they're just planning which direction to park the bus on Saturday.
I'm not surprised.
They just ordered a double-decker.
They of course have an FFA Cup game this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, from Ipswich Knights and the FQPL, we've got Andrew Ogden. Oggy, how are you, mate?
Very good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, brilliant to have you, mate. Going reasonably well in the FQPL. You must be pleased so far.
Look, we were travelling well until Saturday night, and unfortunately, we failed to turn up. And City showed us what it's all about. So we've got to take that one on the chin, and obviously be better this Friday night against Souths in the FFA Cup.
Yes. And our special guest this evening is the coach of Moreton Bay United. It's Royce Brownlee. Royce, welcome.
To you guys.
Good to have you on the show, mate. And speaking of, I mean, if Ipswich Knights are under the radar, you guys are specialties at it. You're under the radar is what you do, isn't it?
Mates, we've got a good young side, so we try and keep it that way. So it makes it easier for them just to go and play. For
sure. All right. So let's start with the NPL. Let's have a look at last weekend's results. We'll start with your game. 6-3 last night over Eastern Suburbs. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the 80th minute, it was 3-0 to you guys, right?
4-0.
4-0.
Yeah.
The goals came flooding in left, right, and centre. Tell us what happened.
Oh, look, I think it's just we got a bit casual, 4-0 up, and a couple of little keeping errors, which is just a little brain snap, and we conceded two goals against us. The boys regrouped. We went and banged in another one, and then we conceded another one straight after that. And it was literally over a 10-minute period where we just switched off. We made 6 substitutes to give a few boys a rest and give a few others a bit of minutes. And it happens when you change your team around that much.
How do you feel about your squad this year?
Oh, look, we've brought in a couple of more experienced boys this year, which has just helped steady the ship. And everyone's responded really, really well. The young boys are just growing and getting better and better and developed from last year. And we've got some really good up and coming youth coming through, which just keeps putting the pressure on the boys there to perform week in, week out.
So I'm guessing you're in a situation where you don't have the budget for the other clubs. So you've just got to get those young guys in. You've got to groom them. You've just got to get that team cohesion happening, and that's your path to success. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And Will Edmonston, Zach Kierpel are good examples of it. Declan Smith at centre back has been playing striker for the last probably 3-4 years in the NPL. We've converted to a centre back. They're all under 22. You know what I mean? And Tommy Alton's another one that's most of our squad is under 22. So it's a massive feat to go and do what we did even against East, after they just beat Olympic on last night.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've played Olympic and Power so far this season, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yeah,
and out of those two, who did you think they're the team that's going to go all the way?
Look, for me, Olympic are one of those teams that if they turn up, they've got the firepower to go and do the damage. But for me, Peninsula Power they have quality all over the park, and they proved it against us when we played them. We gave them 3 opportunities. They scored 3 goals, on any other given day. We take our opportunities, we win the game. There was, 3 or 4 cleared off the line. And but they're just one of those teams that just always seem to find a way to win.
Royce, have you signed Benny Andri?
Mates, he has joined the squad, yes.
There you go. There's another one in the book. Hey? Cunning old rats, you blokes, eh?
Mates, when you're playing well and the guys doesn't live too far from your house, at Moreton Bay there. He lives at Castledine and he wants to come and join and be a part of a hardworking crew and wants to go and score goals and see what he can achieve, with an outfit like us.
That's good.
So let's quickly run through the Mpl results from the weekend. Gold Coast Knights 2-1 over Logan. Lions, big 4-0 win over GCU. Peninsula Power 6-0 over Magpies, who we, of course, when the announcement was made, when Football Queensland put out the big plan, you sort of looked at the zones and thought, well, Mackay isn't in this Southeast Queensland zone, but it was, of course, confirmed that they won't be in the competition next season. We might talk about that a bit later. Olympic and Sunny Coast Wanderers, a 0-0 draw. Tony, I'm going to come to you on that shortly. Brisbane Roar 6-1 over Capalaba, and of course Moreton Bay a 6-3 win over East. Tony, what's going on at Olympic?
I went to that Olympic game at Goulburn Park on Sunday, and I left after 37 minutes.
Why?
And I don't normally leave because I like to express my opinion, but I didn't want to stay and express it. It just had draw written all over it. Olympic are lacking a striker that can go out and score 15, 20 goals for the year. The sooner they get themselves a striker, they're creating plenty of chances. They're not putting any away, apart from the game against Moreton Bay where they scored 4. They've hardly done nothing.
What about Daniel Leck? Isn't he a striker?
He's not. Well, mate, I don't think his original position is a striker. He's a makeshift striker. I think they need that's my opinion, obviously, but they do need an out-and-out striker.
What do you make of that, Royce?
Mate, look, I half agree with Tony. I said Lecky is unbelievable, but for me, he's an attacking midfielder. His ability to read the game, create and score from deep and break runs and lines through any back line is phenomenal. He's not one that plays with his back to goal, and I think if Olympic had that, they would probably go on to win the title.
Right, so looking at the ladder, Peninsula Power on top with 5 wins. Gold Coast are also on 15 points, but they played an extra game. Brisbane Roar Youth on 13. Moreton Bay, 4th place. Going well, Royce. And you're 1 point ahead of Lions in 5th and Olympic are in 6th. Logan in 7th. Now, let's have a look at the bottom of the ladder. There is one team on 0 points, and it is Brisbane Strikers. It doesn't really come as a surprise to anyone, though, does it really, Royce? No,
look, when you saw the clear out that they had and they went through and said, yep, we're going to have just youth development, as writing was on the wall. Unfortunately, no matter who they've got at the realm, they're trying to steer the ship. You need some senior players on the park, and unfortunately, I've proven it. If you don't have them, it makes it tough. Trying to get consistency out of young players at a high level week in, week out is very, very difficult.
Very true. Now, let's have a look at this weekend's results. You're taking on the Wanderers, Royce, going up the coast.
Yeah, look, it's always a battle up there. Arnie plays a very English style of football, play high up, put them under pressure and pick up second balls. And, they've been getting results and they do it well. And we'll have to go and stick it to them. And the pitch up there, it looks green, it looks nice, but at the end of the day, it's Wanderers pitch. We know what it's like. So it's going to be a good challenge, but hopefully we can come away with 3 points.
They've got a big bloke up front there at Sunny Coast Wanderers, about 6'11". Don't know what his name is, but he threw himself around on the weekend.
Yeah, yep.
Giving inside info, Royce, hey?
Yeah. No, mate, if I haven't done my homework, I know I'm in trouble.
He's a big boy. I tell you, he's a big boy.
Yeah, definitely. So you'd be nearly the same size as Declan Smith then.
Yep.
Gold Coast Knights are taking on Redlands. East's against Peninsula Power. Lions up against Olympic. Big game there, Tony.
That's next weekend, isn't it? Not this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, geez, you're right. You've got that
next weekend.
Right. We've got Cup
FFA
games
Cup this week,
haven't we? Can't fail, right. Okay.
Well, so Cup going to Gold Coast on Saturday, I think, to play Gold Coast United.
Yes.
Yeah, very true. Anzac Day weekend, so it's all focused on the Cup.
Yeah.
Do you have a game? Let's see. So we're talking about Sunshine Coast. Is that next weekend?
Next week, yeah, the following week.
Next weekend.
Yeah,
Who are you playing this weekend?
No, we lost in the Cup, so we're out. So we get to concentrate purely on looking after our bodies and making sure we do as well as we can in the league.
So what do you do in those instances, Royce? Do you get the guys together on the weekend? Do you do a bonding session, or you just say, lads, go nuts, do your thing. I trust you to do the right thing and come back to training?
Look, we've got actually a really good, unique squad. They actually enjoy each other's company. So they're already planning a good weekend to hang out together and go and do some team bonding. And for us, that's, something special. It's gets all the young boys with the older boys, and they go and have a good time and hopefully makes us tighter on the park.
But Benny and Joe fit in well then.
That's why he's on board, mate.
Anything to do with the drink you'll be in, I reckon.
Yeah.
It'd be remiss of me not to ask you, Royce, about Redlands United this season. Of course, Richard Greer was your assistant last year. You must be thrilled that he got the job at Redlands.
Definitely. Look, Rich is a absolutely fantastic coach, and he's been with me now for 2.5 years, and it's he took the decision to step out on his own, and he's got a tough gig. He's given little money and budget to play with, and he's got doesn't have the backing of the development of youth like I'm lucky to have at Moreton Bay. So he really has to try and find some rough diamonds there and develop them very quickly.
Has he been in touch with you? Are you still in contact with each other?
Yeah, we talk all the time, to be honest. We no different to what we do, when we're sitting beside each other. We're always bouncing tactics, how to play against different people, how to manage, different situations within football. And Rich is a very, very smart man, and he always looks at the game like I do. So he's a great person to bounce off.
All right. And finally, let's have a quick chat about the Magpies. Tony, what do you think about the fact that they're not in the comp next year? Good or a bad decision?
Well, I think the travelling costs and things like that would affect them. That's probably one. And what does that mean? Where do they play? Where do they go and play next year? Against Townsville and places like that? What happens?
Yeah, probably teams within their zone.
Yeah, oh, there you go. So how fast this zone? How long is this going to last anyway?
What about you, Royce? Is there a sense of relief that you don't have to fork out to travel to Mackay once a season?
Look, to be honest, for us, Mackay or Bundaberg or wherever the trip's going to be, Cairns, it's an away trip for the boys, So I think we've played in the Forex League, it's an away trip that you get to go and enjoy yourself. It's the costs on the clubs. Yes, it is an expense, and there's no hiding it. Are Mackay ever going to be a real force within the Southeast Queensland Football League? Probably not. And we've proven it over how many years now, but yes, it's somewhere for the kids to develop. But I saw all the stats and all the comments that people were putting forward on Facebook and social media and everything else. But at the end of the day, the juniors don't play in that competition anyway. So it's really only the seniors. And if you look at how many they've actually grown that are Mackay genuine boys, or how many they're actually flying in to bring in to actually play in the comp, I think that's where the big gap is.
Good points. All right, Oggy, here's a big chance, mate. Let's turn our attentions now to the FQPL 1. And you took on Brisbane City. We talked about it a little bit earlier. What do you make of the City side this season? Do you think they'll go all the way?
From what I've seen, definitely. As a squad, the whole setup, I think they just look stronger, sharper, faster than any other team I've seen through pre-season, through the season proper. We helped them, unfortunately, with their inept performance. We just didn't get close. We didn't do our jobs. We let ourselves down badly. But saying that, City were ruthless and showed their quality. So I don't have any complaints about the result. We didn't deserve a skerrick of anything. But it's the first time we've done it this year. So I'm hoping it's a blip on our season, and we recovered this week. And luckily we've got a cup game, so we don't have to mull over it for 2 weeks. And we can hopefully prepare well and get a good game in against Souths on Friday night.
Remind us who your cup game's against.
It's Souths United at home on Friday night, 7:45 kickoff.
Right, there we go. Bar open. course it
It
is.
will be. Yeah, it is Ipswich.
I actually saw South United last Friday night up at Whites Hill up against Holland Park. And yeah, look, I think you can take a bit of confidence in the game, having seen both your team, both Ipswich Knights and South United. I would expect you to win that game. But of course, anything can happen on the night. Holland Park, in the last 10 minutes of the game, their striker had a chance on goal, and the South United keeper just went straight through him. And as he did so, player just turned his head, and the collision just knocked him out. He was unconscious. Game got called off with 10 minutes to go. We did a post on Monday to say that Fulton was okay, recovering well. So hopefully he gets back on the pitch sometime this year. But it's all about his health.
Yeah.
And best of luck to him. So
yeah, I did see the collision on the live stream, and it was nasty. So hopefully he's gets a good recovery and he's back on the park as soon as possible.
yeah, and Holland Park have another injury to their squad. They're down a few already. So and they're just screaming for a couple of players of quality in their team to just steady the ship. An experienced central midfielder would do them the world of good. However, Rochdale Rovers had the big game on the weekend up against Southwest Queensland Thunder, coming away with a Graham Fife late winner to take the game 4-3. I was talking to Mark Cruz Friday night, the former Rochdale Rovers coach, and he's very bullish about their chances this season as well. What's your take on that, Oggy?
Yeah, I've seen Rochdale almost every week by just watching the live coverage or the replays. I don't think they've got the same firepower as City. Saying that, they look a much stronger squad, much more balanced squad than last year. I think certain teams will get at them and cause them some grief, and I'm hoping we're one of them. But they've recruited well. They look organised. They look like they're a more mature squad, and they've got a resilience about them compared to last year. They were very fragile last year. Had their moments, but this year they look quite solid. Saying that, they've obviously, I didn't see the squad they put out last night for the cup game, but they've got beaten by South, and compound that, they got 3 sent off. So that could have an impact in the next 2 or 3 weeks for them. You never know. I know with us, we've got a reasonably light squad. If we got 3 sent off, it would really, really hurt us.
For sure. And Southwest Queensland Thunder, just short again.
Yeah, look, I like the way Thunder play. They beat us 2-1 early in the season. They scored in the 95th minute, an absolute cracker from DeVito. And again, I'm not whinging because they probably were the better team on the night, but leaving it so late, it probably disappointing we didn't get the point. I like the way Thunder play. They have some nice intricate moves. They keep the ball, and I think it's going to be a battle. I just got a feeling City have the quality to push ahead and hold that lead. Yeah, I can't see anyone else in the FQPL that I've seen at the moment. I think, Pride's 2 from 2, which is a great start for them after not playing a game for so many weeks. So that's a fantastic start for Pride. Eagles have started well. Sunny Coast. Yeah, look, like we said to our squad at the start of the season, I don't think this year you walk into any game thinking, we're a good chance of getting the points. It's going to be some real hard work and real, good quality play to make sure you get the points. So, yeah, we don't go into any game thinking that we're better than anyone else because I think it's that close.
Sunny Coast, of course, got their first win of the season last weekend with a 5-1 thumping of Wolves. What's going on with Wolves, Oggy?
Wolves is probably one of the teams I haven't seen a great deal about, but obviously they've conceded a lot of goals in 5 matches or whatever it might be. So obviously defensively they've got an issue, but they did lose their front 3 to Mpl clubs, and I'd say they've struggled to replace the front 3 with the quality they had last year with Max and the boy who went to Redlands. what's his name?
Westerdale.
Yeah, Westerdale. Yeah, they scored most of the goals, and Tarrant went to Capalaba. So those three scored most of their goals last year. And, you know, goals do change games. When you're having strong periods in a game and you don't score your goals that you should score, I think Royce touched on it earlier. If you slot those couple of goals when you're in a dominant period of the game changes. And if you haven't got the people who can do it, it's really, really difficult.
Yeah, I thought Antonio Murray should be able to put some goals away in that league, wouldn't he?
Well, you would have thought so, Tony. He's got a good reputation. He's got a good pedigree. It's really difficult, though, because sometimes I've been involved in really good teams and I've been involved in teams that have struggled. And sometimes when you get that struggle, the mindset of the players, you know, you lose half a yard in your thought process, in your ability to get there and do different things, just because you're thinking that, you know, you're not going to do it because you're in a rut. And, you know, you've got, like Roy said, if you haven't got leaders in your team, senior players, it sometimes becomes difficult. I'm not sure how many leaders Wynnum have got. We've got a young squad ourselves. And, you know, I particularly kept a couple of older guys around because they're such good people and good pros. They really help the club and they look after the younger guys. So, you know, it's important to have those people around.
What about the other disappointing team for me is Mitchelton?
I think that's a massive shock for everybody.
I was just coming to them now. They, of course, lost 3-2 to Western Pride on the weekend. And Liam Parslow has just joined us during the show. Liam, hello.
Hey, boys. How are you? Sorry, I'm a bit late.
I just left the pub from the big win, mate. Just left the pub from the big win.
Yeah. I take it this is a segue to the Pride game.
Yes, exactly.
I thought it would be. Look, Mitchelton, they certainly very, very close to being where they want to be. I think they played our boys there, and look, they didn't play that bad. I think Dan, he said himself last week that they are still a work in progress, and I think the way that they pushed Pride there, especially that second half, Pride, our boys are very lucky to hold them out. They were just really pushing us there, but our boys held strong in the defence. But look, I wouldn't write them off completely. I think they've just had a bit of a rough start to the season. They're almost a near new team with a couple of older heads in there. So I think Dan's very much got them as a work in progress, and I see them out of the bottom of the 3 years league within a few weeks.
So when do you start panicking? 5 games without a point or 1 point. What do you start to push the panic button?
Mate, they're close. They're close. I think
we've
they were.
heard that 3 weeks in a row they're close. They still haven't got anything.
Yeah, no. Look, I agree. They were very lucky to not get a point out of that game against Pride. So yeah, they're not far off, but it can't be too much longer, Tony.
And they're losing tonight as well, apparently.
Yeah, that's FFA Cup though, isn't it? I don't think it matters with the league, but it's still good to get the game under. I mean, that's good for Dan and the team because it gets them more game time. Because I think now that the priority for them is to get off the bottom of the ladder. Well,
so just looking at that ladder, Brisbane City are on top, undefeated. Rochdale Rovers second, Southwest Queensland Thunder third, and Western Pride, having played just 2 games, are in 4th place. Let's have a look at this weekend's fixtures.
Are they on this weekend?
Yes.
No, not for the men, I don't think, are they?
Oh, no, it's next weekend, isn't it?
For the women, there is, though, I think, yeah, that's another show.
This
I think I've got to catch up.
Format. All right, let's turn now to the FQPL2. So looking at last weekend's results, Magic United had a 4-1 win over Coomera, which was the battle of the 2 bottom teams. Caboolture continued on their merry way with a 6-2 win over the hapless Virginia United. Taringa maintained their undefeated start with a 2-1 win over North Star. And Thistle and Rangers had a 1-1 draw. Looking at the ladder, it's Caboolture on top. And Rovers in second, North Star third, Thistle in 4th. Coomera Colts and Virginia, both on nil point. Oggy and Royce, do you guys take any interest in this FQPL too? Do you watch highlights? Do you go to a game? Are you looking at players there? Or have you got other things, more important things to do?
Look, to be honest, sorry, Oggy, you go first.
Sorry, buddy. I do watch the highlights because it's interesting to see what players are around. I think being out at Ipswich, it's a little bit more difficult to get those northern side clubs and look at their players and say, oh yeah, we'll be able to drag them all the way to Ipswich. That's always difficult. But I like to look at all football. I enjoy football and I enjoy looking at it. We played North Star in the pre-season, and they've got an exciting young squad, and I think they'll cause some teams some problems. Obviously, Caboolture are very strong. I look at Taringa; they look like they're a really well-balanced outfit. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, you know. And obviously, being in the FQPL 1 and 3 relegation spots, you know, you're looking what hopefully is coming up to meet you rather than you going down to meet them. But as I said before, I look at the FQPL 1 and I don't see one game where I could say I'm going to walk in and win that game. It's going to be every week is going to be a battle, which is good. And hopefully the FQPL, hopefully the whole structure balances things out, and we finally get an even competition, you know, rather than being so odds and evens with buys every week and this, that, and the other. So, yeah, looking forward to next year.
What about you, Royce?
Yeah, no, look, Sanford are in our backyard, you know, and we've actually a fair few of their boys are actually ex-Moreton Bay boys, you know, Albany Creek boys. So for us, it's a growing sort of like a little sister club. To be honest, my brother's there now coaching there as well. Just came out from underneath Terry and starting to cut his teeth as well. So, you know, I think they've got some potential there. And look, to be honest, it's as you know, some clubs like Taringa have, you know, identified and got a couple of really good key players, and it's good to watch those players because, you know, we're always looking for strikers or midfielders, or, you know, and then you can see Taringa strikers, you know, on fire. He's banging in goals for fun, and, you know, he's one of those ones I think, you know, if they're not careful, we'll be watching and be looking to bring forward. You know, I think all the clubs will be.
So, of course, you're talking about Sean Carabasis. He scored, he got the golden boot last season. He's scored 8 already. His phone must ring a lot, surely.
Oh, look, definitely. Look, the if you go have a look at the every league, I think as soon as you start getting on the golden boot register, all of a sudden your phone surely will be ringing because everyone's looking for that goal scorer. You know, Tony spoke about it earlier about Olympic looking for a 9. You know, it's that hard to find at the moment. We don't develop 9s for me that goes and scores goals. You know, it's been a long time since we've had an out-and-out goal scorer that's a true striker.
Do you think he'll cut it, Royce?
What's that, bud?
Do you think he'll handle NPL?
Mate, I've watched him and he's a pretty tough player. You know, he's come out of the BPL, and BPL don't necessarily play football. You know, the fields are rougher. They're a bit crap. You know, in the end of the day, he plays at Taringa. So he knows what a battle's about. And I think, if anything, it'll take him a few weeks to get used to the speed of the game. But at the end of the day, putting the ball in the back of the net is a gift. You know, it's something you work hard to learn how to do. And the ones that can do it properly, I think, you know, deserve every cent.
With a name like that, he should be at the Olympics, shouldn't he?
That's why I'm surprised he's not there.
You've got his number.
Roy, so I want to ask you a personal question. When you were playing, what was the highest level of interest that you received?
Look, coming out of the Queensland League for me was going down to Marconi and doing really, really well. And then from there, being off to go over to Sheffield Wednesday was probably my biggest highlight in Portsmouth. Unfortunately, injuries stopped me from going anywhere else. And then the good old Aussie attitude of she'll be right and probably not working hard enough, you know, kept me grounded and kept me more, you know, here in Brisbane and in Queensland, and still managed to travel around and play football and have a good life out of it. But yeah, I think the Aussie attitude way, I think sometimes lets us down a little bit.
You'll have to get that YouTube up, video up again tonight, just to show everyone just how good you were, mate.
Lucky to hit. That was actually my debut game, and you know, to have a coach like Dennis Wise and Gus Poirier was pretty amazing. You know, I had Paul Ince in my team, so I played with some pretty amazing players and in my time, and played against David Beckham, and you know, so to have that on your sort of resume is a pretty, you know, great feat, and a good role model for when your son's coming through as well.
So you were there when with Dennis Wise and Gus Poirier.
Yeah.
How were they as coaches?
To be honest, they were polar opposites. You know, Dennis Wise was the absolute professional about fitness, about eating, he was just a pure machine. You know, he was only 5 foot tall, but could run all day, and you know, had a heart of a lion. Where Gus Poirier was just absolutely frighteningly talented. You could sit there and say whatever foot you wanted to kick a ball, and you'd hit the crossbar or top corner or bottom corner, whatever your foot you said, and outside, inside, he'd put it exactly where he wanted to. He'd join in games, and you'd be at the back, he'd save the goal, and then be up the front and score the goal. So he was just an absolute freak of nature.
Do you think back as you're coaching players? Do you think, oh yeah, I remember learning that from Gus or something like that?
Oh, definitely. The boys actually hated it a little bit because our warm up is a 10-minute run, and it was something he did, and they said, you know, they used when they're at Chelsea. The first thing you do is you turn up and you go in a group and you go on a 10-minute run, and that's your warm up, and then you're ready to go. And you know, if you sit there and look at all the science behind it, there's nothing. You know, everyone goes, we need to do prehab, we need to do this, we need to do that. There's a lot of things that I wrote down out of his textbook that I still use now, and for me they work. You know, and I'm a big believer, if you've done it and it works, you keep sticking with it.
Definitely 10-minute run for sure. And the players whinge about that.
Oh, they do. Trust me. The first thing they do is turn up on the park and go for a 10-minute run. They're like, where's me 2 laps, and where's me stretch? Where's me bands to do the prehab? Where's my rollers?
Millennials.
That's exactly it.
Guys, we might just throw this open to the floor. Liam, Tony, have you got any questions for Oggy or Royce?
No, not really.
I might have a quick question for Oggy, being fellow Ipswichian. Just want to know, Andy, with the Derby this year, would you like to see a bit more intensity from Pride than last time?
No.
The reason I say that is because
by the general public, yes.
Yeah. Look,
I thought we were better last year.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I only say that because I think it's true. I've watched Pride this year, and they're a different beast. They're definitely a different beast. They look like a little bit more settled, even though you've only played 2 games. You look more organised, to be honest. And I think you're going to be a lot harder to break down, and you've got a couple of boys up front that can win a game for you. So, as I said before, and I include Pride in everything I say, there's no game I look at that I think we can just go and win. We've got to work our socks off, play well. I think it'd be good for the region if they're cracking games, because, you know, there's many, you know, talking points about Ipswich, about having one club and this, that, and the other, and would be much stronger. And that's obviously would be true. You know, if it was one club in one city, it would be stronger, but it's not the way it is at the moment. So we want to win.
Because this is probably more for the Football Brisbane show, but just as a matter of for those people that didn't know, but on Friday night we had the Bulls and Ripley derby, and that was a ripper, absolute ripper of a derby. It was tough, it was hard fought. It had the underdog come through and win, and I went to both the Knights and Pride derbies last year, and I was very disappointed in the way that the Pride performed. I think, especially the first derby, I think the boys from both teams were too pally-wally on the sidelines, because obviously they all know one another, and I found that pretty disappointing. If it's a derby, you know, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing you know, love-ins on the sideline when you're warming up. I just think, you know, you're two separate teams. Let's get the derby. Let's get in and do it. And that really showed in our Bulls and Ripley really showed that on Friday night, that you can be from two sides of the town, and you can get stuck in.
I totally agree. I
Yeah.
played in the era of obviously Ipswich United and Coal Stars,
Yeah,
and they were like, I was 60 kilos wringing wet,
yeah,
and they were fierce.
yeah,
The tackles were ugly, but you went out there knowing that the tackles would be ugly. You didn't cry about it. You
yeah,
got back up, and
Yeah.
that's the way it was.
yeah, absolutely.
I can remember Johnny Dan put me into a fence, and he came and picked me up and said, "Get up, Oggy, you're okay."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah. Oh look,
You'd like to see that. You'd like to see that passion brought back in, because Pride were at NPL and Knights were at were below, but it was really good to get that derby atmosphere back, because there's a lot of history in Ipswich football, and to be able to have that level of rivalry back, it's good. We're all both battling for promotion, so we all want to be the better team in the region, and I'm these guys here that I talk to know that I'm football first, and I'm more for Ipswich football. If Knights were to get into NPL, I'll be proud as punch as a team, and for the region. So even though I'm Pride, you're Knights, and we like to have a good crosstown rivalry, I think it's very good for the region that we have two good performing teams. We try and get either one of our teams in the top NPL in the top league. So I wish you luck.
To be honest, guys, I was just going to say, Oggy, to be honest though, you guys were always the ones, like whether you went to Western Pride, but mainly Ipswich Knights. When you went to Ipswich Knights, you feared going there. It's the field, it's the crowd. It was always that the mentality that it was a real tough gig to go up there and actually get points. And they're the things we need in football. I still think they're the things that if we can keep building on them and get better crowds and keep pushing and keep playing entertaining football and get the crowds to really support, especially the Ipswich Derby, which is one rivalry in itself, but making sure that everyone's home grounds are the fortresses we make them out to be, because that's what builds football.
And I think the good thing about Knights too is that because there's been a lot of players come and go over the years, and you had Coal Stars and everybody all merged together. You've got a lot of old boys there, and I think the advantage for your lads is that having those old boys there, they really get the vibe for what it means for Knights. Whereas Pride's a reasonably young team, and especially over the last 2 years last season when we played the first derby, we didn't really have that. This is what it's about. This is what a derby's about. They didn't get a punch in. They had us on the sidelines just trying to instill in them what it meant. But I think that's an advantage for Knights again this season. But I want to get that. I want to get that mongrel back. That's what I want. Look, and every time I see Brian there on the sidelines, I tell him, I said, you get stuck into those boys and you tell them this is that it's a derby this season, and you have to play for it. Because last season both games we weren't in it, and it was very, very disappointing from a supporter point of view.
Yeah, no, understandable. We actually had our first home game last week against Moggle in the Cup.
Yeah,
and even Moggle are only in Cap 1.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic crowd.
Yeah,
it was really good. Moggle stuck it to us.
Yeah,
and it was really good to have all the locals from the Moggle area and from us. And it was a really good night. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yep.
We might end it there, guys. But as we sign off, I'll just get you to roll off what's the best derby in the league at the moment. Yeah. I say Logan Roachdale. What say you, Royce Brownlee?
Yeah, mate, I'd have to second that. Logan Roachdale, after being at Logan, is a pure belter. It reminds me of the old days of Lions versus City. It's that got that heritage behind it.
What about you, Oggy?
Oh, look, to be honest, I haven't paid that much attention to the Brisbane derbies because of being at Ipswich. But I'd like to say with Liam, let's hope that the Ipswich Derby takes over everything and it becomes a real spectacle for everyone.
Here's hoping. Liam?
Oh yeah, look, I'm loyal to the Ipswich cause, you know, and I really want this to be a proper derby. I want a bit of mongrel from both teams this season.
And Tony?
The games I enjoyed going to was City Olympic, but obviously that's not going to happen this year. I have to be honest with you. The disappointing thing for me going to games, there is no atmosphere.
Yeah.
I went to the Olympic game on Sunday, and I felt as I just went to get some blake and walk away. Whether it's in previous years, and I don't know whether it's the ethnic element or whatever, you'd go and you have a bit of a laugh with some blokes. There's a bit of cheering, a bit of chanting going on. The other minute you say something, you get an old lady with a uniform on. Oh, you can't say that. It's not politically correct. It's not this. It's not that. You might as well just go and watch it on live stream and sit at home.
But how much of that is the actual players themselves not coming from the backgrounds of Italian and Greek backgrounds? Because a lot of
it, and that's what I just said. That young kid at Taringa with a name like that, he should really be at Olympic.
Yeah.
Because I remember years ago when you go and watch Olympic, that'd be 5 or 6 Greek kids playing first team, a few in under 23s or reserves or whatever. They'd bring their parents, their grandparents. They brought in 100 different people.
Yeah.
Now they just drop the kids off. They pick them up, take them home. See you later. Grandma's there to watch, and that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Apologies
I still think
to
that's a culture.
We need the ethnic element back, Royce. That's what I reckon.
Apologies to the hardworking people at Taringa who've spent so much time trying to keep short at their club. We've done everything we can to try and
I
save
haven't
them
got
away
him yet. I haven't got his number.
That's the show, guys. Thank you so much for joining in this evening. Next week, we'll actually have some games to preview, which will certainly help the cause. But
see you, boys. Good luck at the next one.
Andrew Ogden and Royce Brownlee.
Thanks,
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, you're on, mate.